So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning to everyone. So, I hope you guys are doing well. We are now on the chapter 7, which is the last topic for this subject, sports in the future, right? So, before we start, the learning objective for this topic, at the end of this topic, we expected that students should be able to understand the major sports form in the future and then can explain and also describe the future trends in the sports, and lastly is to be able to elaborate and explain about the challenge of transforming sports in the future. Okay, so now let's take a look what are the sports in the future. So the first one is the future is created rather than predicted. Same goes to the sports. In the sports world, sports is considered as a social construction, which is the sports are funded and publicized the most at any particular place and time and likely to be consistent with the values, interests, ideas, and experience of those who have the power in the society or in the social world. Okay, so we can use there are two major forms that influence the changing of the sports form in the future, which is the first one is power and performance in sports, and also the second one is a pleasure and participations model. Okay, so we can use these both elements as a starting point of thinking what we like sport to be in the future. So next, so thinking about the future of the sports, right? So like I just said before, sports are considered as a social construction, which is they can be invented, redefined and changed. Maksudnya dia boleh sukan ni boleh cipta, ditakrif semula dan juga boleh diubah. Okay, and the meaning, purpose, and the organizations of sport in the future will be based on the collective decision and action of the human being. Maksudnya makna, tujuan dan juga organisasi sukan ni pada masa akan datang adalah berdasarkan keputusan dan juga tindakan manusia. Okay, tindakan kolektif manusia. And lastly, sports are contested activity when people struggle over these decisions. Next, 7.1 major sports form in the future. So ada dua kat sini. Okay, first one is a power and performance in sports. So will be dominant in the intermediate future, and second one is a sponsor give priority to these sports. Okay, so power and performance sports will continue to be highly visible and publicized in the near future because they based on the key aspect of dominant ideologies in the most post-industrial society, as demonstrated by their emphasis on strength, power, speeds, competitions, and competitive outcome. So they all build upon the idea that excellence is achieved through dedication, hard work, and willingness to take risk and competitive success to prove the excellence. So they involve setting records, which is setting records macam world records, SEA Game record, Commonwealth record, and then humans pushing human limits. Okay, untuk test human limits, and then using a body of the athlete as a machine. Okay, seen as a machine and employing the science and technology in the process. So according to many athletes in performance and power and performance sports, the sports use their body and seen is as to be disciplined and monitored as to meet the demands of the sport. Okay, so demands of the sport from the sports lover and sports spectators, they like to see this kind of sports that involve this power and performance sports, right? And then the second one is sponsor give priority to this kind of sports. Why? So the sponsor of power and performance sports will be focusing on the value of winning by the athletes. Okay, so they being endorsed by winning athlete and team is important in order to selling product and promoting the sponsors brand. So sebab itulah pentingnya the winning of the athletes. Bukan sahaja bagi sponsor, but then still ada 50-50 lah, so ada benefit they get from sponsor the athletes. By what? First, they can selling their product and then promoting the sponsor brand. For example, like Adidas, Nike, New Balance, and so much more. Okay. So next, pleasure and participation sports will grow as connections are value over dominations, and sponsorship will be difficult to obtain and maintain. So pleasure and participation sport tend to be exclusive, and skill differences among participants often are accommodated by using handicap that allow everyone to experience challenges in organized physical activity. So pleasure and participation sports are characteristically sponsored by the public and non-profit organizations, and also by other corporation which seeking exposure to defined collections of consumer. Okay, so some corporations may sponsor this kind of sport as part of an overall which emphasize on social responsibility and commitment to the health promotions, among the other commendable goals. Women will be among those who seeks alternative to power and performance sports. And then more people will seek connection through sports with each other and the environment. So, the power and performance sports, they will remain popular, but they are exclusive and many people will not have the opportunity or desire to participate. Kenapa tak semua orang ada opportunity untuk participate dalam power and performance sports? So because the power and performance sports are exclusive in that participations are selected for their abilities to achieve competitive success. So most of the power and performance sports are based on the competitive success. Competitions include the competitions. Okay. So tak semua orang boleh join because dia ada selection. Siapa yang terbaik and have the ability will be selected to join the sports or to be in the team. But those who lack with the abilities are cut out from the teams and put in the lower status program. Okay, so dia ada kita untuk for the power and performance sports, they seize the individual potential and abilities in order to be participate in certain sports. For example, like NFL, National Football League. Okay, only the best will be on the team. And then, second one is their popularity depends on power, staying in the control of men who value conquest over others. Okay, so because power and performance sports often involve pushing human limit and normative limit, they are relatively easy to market and sell when combined with the storyline of the athletes to the consumer or to the spectators. So this is why the media focus on the individual athletes. So sports entertainment coverage is common in the commercial power and performance sports because it fit an extend storyline that maintain audience interest about the actions of the athletes when the event is boring for many viewers. So how they use the commercial in sports with the heroic actions ataupun extreme movement in the sports, okay, untuk and also the storyline about the individual athletes to attract the sports lover untuk entertain diorang lah. Okay. So those who favor unstructured activities will seek alternative to power and performance sports. Siapa yang lebih berminat dengan aktiviti yang tidak berstruktur akan mencari alternatif kepada power and performance sports lah. So alternative sport will include much more than extreme sport in the future. Okay. So the second one is the pleasure and participation sports. So there are 4 factors producing growth in this pleasure and participation sport. So the first one is a concern about health and fitness. So as a healthcare policy and program emphasize the prevention rather than expensive cure, we usually heard about the prevention is better than a cure, right? So people generally become more sensitive to these issues. So what issues? About the health and fitness issues. So healthcare and insurance company nowadays, they have encouraged the strategy for people to staying well as they seek out to cut costs and maximize the profit. Cut costs of what? Cut costs of the medications and the treatment they will receive after they get the injury. So it costs a lot. So this encourage people to pursue the activity with the health benefit lah. Okay. Banyak orang untuk dekat dengan aktiviti yang dapat daripada health benefit punya aktiviti lah, yang based on the health benefit boleh beri kebaikan kepada mereka punya kesihatan lah, tahap kesihatan. So only in pleasure and participation sport will meet this need. Okay. So now, second factor is the participation priorities for older people. So as the median age of the population increase in the many society and the older people represent an increasingly larger proportions of the world populations, there will be more interest in sports. So mereka ni banyak kurang minat kepada sukan dan lebih berminat kepada aktiviti-aktiviti yang do not involve the intimidations, physical force and dominations of the opponent, and also the most important thing is the risk of getting the serious injuries. So that is why they choose the pleasure and participation sports. Okay, this is focused on only for the older people. And then the third factor is value brought to sport by women. So a woman gain more power and resources. As a woman gain more power and resources, many will revise and reject traditional power and performance in sports. Power and performance sports. Because of what? Because when women play the extreme sport or high impact sport such as rugby, soccer, hockey, and so much more, they often emphasize inclusiveness and support for teammates and opponent in explicit way that are less common in men versions of this sport. So dia tak dapat benda yang sama macam apabila lelaki yang involved dalam sport power and performance sports. Okay. So women often face difficulty when recruiting corporate sponsor. So that is why they choose this pleasure and participation sports. Okay. And lastly, group seeking alternative sports. So, according to the Troops and Witten 2013, people who reject the certain aspect of power and performance sports have the history of creating alternative sports and unique sports culture organized around them. For example, like skaters, skateboarders, snowboarders, surfer, apa lagi, BMX rider, wall climbing, speed wall climbing, inline skater, and so much more. Okay, so they didn't agree with the structured activities or sports. So they tend to create their own creating alternative sports. So these are the example of the sports. Okay. So other than that, people with a physical or intellectual disabilities have also developed alternative sports or adapted to the dominant sports to fit their interests and need. So not only for the group people who reject the aspect of power and performance sports, which is the normal people, create the new sport, but also this is for the people with a lack of uh, uh, not lack people or people with physical or intellectual disabilities lah, handicap people lah, okay, also develop alternative sports to adapt the dominant sport to fit their interests and needs. Okay, so ada dua lah kat sini. Satu yang reject the structured activity ataupun structured sports, and second one is a group of people, handicap people lah. Okay, they develop the alternative sports untuk meet their interest and need. So now we move to the 7.2, which is future trends in sports. So the first one is a professional sports. What are the trends for the sports in the future for the professional sport? So the first one is a profit driven. Okay, untuk didorong oleh keuntungan. So the second one is a total entertainment spectacles, jumlah penonton hiburan. And then dependence on public fund to build facility design as a shopping mall with a playing field. So dia bergantung kepada dana public fund, dana awam untuk membina kemudahan seperti pusat beli belah dengan padang permainan sekali. So kat situ dia orang boleh generate income dan juga benefit lah, dapat benefit. Okay, menarik orang untuk datang ke these sport venues. And then negotiation between players and owners over working condition. Perundingan antara pemain dan juga owners ataupun pemilik pasukan ke pemilik macam JDT dan juga sebagainya lah. So that is a professional sports. So the second one is intercollegiate sports. So for the future trend in sports, for the intercollegiate sports, first one, they gonna struggle over gender equality. Equity. So perjuangan mengenai kesaksamaan jantina. Okay. And then athlete seeking right and representations in revenue sports. So mencari hak, atlet mencari hak dan juga perwakilan dalam hasil sukan. And students seeking opportunities to play sports that do not generate revenues. Ataupun pelajar ni mencari peluang untuk bermain ataupun involve dalam certain sports yang tidak menjana pendapatan ataupun tak dapat apa-apa, just to involve in this kind of sport lah. Right, so these are the intercollegiate sports. So the third one is high school sports. So future trends for high school sport in the future. The first one is a parent and athlete use sports to seek scholarship and admissions into college. Okay, nak masuk college ataupun mendapatkan beasiswa. Okay, buat apa dengan atlet? Gunakan sukan lah untuk mendapatkan beasiswa dan juga kemasukan ke college ataupun universiti. And then struggle over gender equity. Sama macam tadi lah. Perjuangan mengenai kesesamaan jantina. Okay, antara lelaki dan perempuan. And then focus on playoff, championship and ranking. Kejuaraan dan juga kedudukan ranking lah. Untuk maintain dia ranking. Right, so next we move to the number 4, youth sport. So ada 3 sini. The first one is increased privatizations. Okay, pengswastaan. Okay, peningkatan pengswastaan. Okay, maksudnya organisasi yang swasta macam klub-klub, akademi. Bukan lagi under MSSM, mengikut sekolah ke apa, tak, ikut club, akademi. So siapa ada duit boleh hantar anak-anak kat situ lah. And then segregations by socio-economic status, race and ethnicity. Pengasingan mengikut status socio-economic. Okay, daripada bangsa dan etnik, kaum, sebagainya lah. And lastly, decreasing opportunities for low-income people of all ages. So menurunkan peluang untuk orang berpendapatan rendah dari semua peringkat umur untuk participate dalam sukan. Okay, itu untuk youth sport. So number 5, sports for people with disabilities. Okay, first one is an increase in people disabled by war, lack of medical care and poverty. So peningkatan untuk orang kurang upaya akibat daripada perang, kekurangan rawatan perubatan dan juga kemiskinan. And that increasing recognitions that people with disabilities desire to play sport and have a right to aspect opportunities. So peningkatan pengiktirafan bahawa orang kurang upaya OKU ingin bermain sukan, nak main sukan dan mempunyai hak yang sama untuk mengharapkan peluang to join certain sport lah. Okay. And then continuing using sport participation as therapy. Penggunaan penyertaan sukan ni secara berterusan sebagai terapi. Dilihat sebagai terapi lah. And last but not least is spectators and spectator sports. So continuing commitment to watch sport as a central leisure activity. Komitmen berterusan untuk menonton sukan sebagai ataupun melihat sukan sebagai aktiviti riadah utama. And then increasing use of internet and other technologies that provide spectators experience. So peningkatan dalam penggunaan internet dan juga teknologi lain, medium-medium lain untuk memberikan pengalaman secara terus kepada penonton mengenai sukan. And lastly is defining spectators as a consumer who are receptive to advertising message. So mendefinisikan penonton sebagai pengguna yang akan menerima message ataupun pesanan daripada iklan, advertising lah. Okay. So NAT 7.3, the challenge of transforming sports. So there are 3 challenges in order to transforming the sports in the future. The first one is the visions of what sports and social life could and should be in the future. So visi tentang apa yang boleh dan juga seharusnya berlaku kepada perubahan yang berlaku kepada kehidupan sosial dan juga sukan di masa akan datang. And then willingness, second one is a willingness to work hard to turn visions into reality. Okay. Kesediaan untuk bekerja keras mengubah visi menjadi kenyataan. And lastly is a political abilities to rally the resources needed to create the future. So kebolehan politik untuk mengumpulkan sumber-sumber yang ada ataupun menggunakan resources yang ada untuk menciptakan masa depan lah. Okay, masa depan sukan. So this is one of the example. Miracle Field in a Myrtle Beach is totally accessible and allow people with impaired walking to play baseball. So these are the sports center or field that built according to the vision that satisfy the needs of the normal people and also the handicapped people in sports for the future. Okay. So Miracle Field di Myrtle Beach, pantai Myrtle dapat diakses penuhnya dan membolehkan orang yang mengalami masalah berjalan ataupun handicapped people lah untuk terus bermain baseball. So about the Miracle League and Field, right? It is created by idealists with the visions for increasing opportunities for young people with disabilities. So dicipta oleh dengan idea dan juga visi untuk meningkatkan peluang bagi golongan muda yang kurang upaya untuk keep on participate in sports. And then related to the needs of 6 million children in US and many thousands of soldiers who have the injuries and have a compromised physical abilities. Kaitan dengan keperluan 6 juta kanak-kanak di Amerika Syarikat dan juga ribuan tentera yang cedera dan juga mempunyai kemampuan fizikal yang terjejas lah. Okay. Ini adalah konsep kepada tadi Miracle Field in the Myrtle Beach dicipta ataupun ditubuhkan. Right. So these are one of the example lah. Okay. So yeah, that's the end of this topic. Alhamdulillah kita dah cover semua chapter. So hopefully dah cover semua syllabus lah. So if you guys have any questions or confusion regarding this topic or the subject, you guys can ask it in our GC, okay, Google Classroom, ataupun direct PM me ya. Sebab kadang-kadang hujung-hujung SEM ni busy sikit, so mungkin tak perasan kan, so boleh PM lah. So please settlekan you guys punya group assignment awal. So nanti saya akan buka platform dekat Google Classroom. So boleh hantar, boleh submit kat situ. And then for next week, kita akan buat revision. Mungkin saya akan bagi exercise atau tutorial ataupun apa-apa lah. Nanti saya akan maklumkan balik. Alright. So thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. And pergi ke UiTM membeli kain untuk wanita tercantik di dunia. Buta sebab pandang orang lain, mendapat balasan di atas dunia. Salah ke pandang aku? Salah ke? Tiba. Tak ada. Okay, membeli ketum di awal pagi. Ariana Grande dipanggil sister. Semoga kita berjumpa lagi. Bukan di kelas sama, tapi di lain semesta. Maksudnya jangan repeat lah. Jangan masuk kelas ni lagi. Tak nak tengok muka-muka sama ni. Okay. Alright. See you again. Bye-bye.